Oh, so there's a quite delayed welcome to Mark Wallis for this particular Zoom. And the plan was to speak to Mark immediately after the TV trophy. That didn't quite work out for one reason or another, and so it seems a little bit sort of old news now. But given the kind of year that we've had, I thought it was particularly relevant that have a chat with Mark. And I guess the one place to start, Mark, the your successor. You've had 11 years as champion trainer in, I think, three different sessions or two different sessions
Yes.
at least.
Yeah.
Much of which, or a part of which, you had a particularly successful head lad. He's now gone on. Third kind of champion trainers have come out of certainly worked in Imperial Kennels, having followed Linda as well. Um, we spoke a week or so ago, and you were magnanimous in your praise for Patrick, and it was really a case of just sort of saying, I guess if anybody was going to win it beyond yourself, you preferred it was him.
Certainly, Patrick's. It was great from the time we worked together, and he had a small break from the sport, and then has come back. He's bred some nice pups to start with, and got on the open race scene, and he's just got stronger and stronger as the years have gone on. And I absolutely completely confess that I think he's totally deserved to win the title this year, and his dogs have run magnificent. Yes, it's been a strange year with the pandemic and everything, but when you look back at a lot of the competitions, Patrick's dominated plenty of them, and not all the time, but we've played second fiddle most of the time. So he's done. Him and his team have done fantastically well. I know Patrick's a fella who will play it down and say winning competitions is more important than personal gain. But I think when Patrick sees those names on that trophy, all those famous old names, and it is a trophy to be proud of. We've had a tremendous run, to win it 8 times consecutively is incredible. And we're proud of the achievements that we've done on that. And all we can do is say well done to Patrick, and look to see if we can come back next year and regain that. As I said many times, you can only do that by winning the big races. And we've had a good year. It's not been a stellar year, but Patrick's had a magnificent year. He's had several dogs that have not only won category ones, but have been consistent all year, made major finals. And it's not done. You're never going to win a Trainer of the Year award by how many races you win. It's all about getting dogs in the big finals and scoring points in those category one races, and he's done it more than we have this year, and more than any other trainer has. So the title goes to where it's deserved, and we congratulate Patrick and on a brilliant achievement.
What was it? Obviously, when you took him on, you're a very disciplined kennel. Linda sort of trained you in her own image, and then you kicked on and became your own man and developed your own systems and your own ways of doing things. And ultimately, without being disparaging to Linda, you've been very much more successful than she has. As I said, with 11 championships. Um, if I said to you when you first met Patrick or asked him to work for you, what were the kind of the qualities that particularly stood out in the way he conducts himself?
Well, with everything, it was a bit by chance that Patrick actually came. It was down to Linda, of course. We was a really busy kennel back in the early 2000s, and we needed good quality staff. We had a big open race team. If you go, but there was more tracks there, more opens. Linda and myself were as ambitious as anybody in the game, despite Linda just winning the Trainer of the Year award herself for 2 years. And I think it was just after that we was looking for staff, and Patrick answered I think it was an advert to Linda, and we met him at Walthamstow that one night, and he came back with us, and he was at the kennels for a long time afterwards. Me and Patrick struck it off straight away. Loved his attitude, loved the way he was with the dogs, loved the fact that he was really ambitious to get on in life and make something. We had a laugh as well. That was the key to everything. You know, back in that sort of early days and everything, we always had a laugh about everything. And as I say, we got it. Struck it really well. The key for me was as when Linda decided to retire at the end of 2004 and asked myself and Sarah if we wanted to take over the kennels. You know, I said to Linda, look, if I do take the kennels over, you know, I'm going to be my own man sort of thing. I'll have to get, you know, do everything the way I want to do it. You know, I would be you know, we wouldn't change the routine of the dogs or anything like that, but we certainly wanted to look forward to get those kennels to be more progressive than they already was. We had a fantastic base that Linda gave us, and we launched ourselves from that. One of the key things that I said before I wanted to take over the license was I asked Patrick if he would be my assistant trainer. That was crucial. How much I thought of Patrick then, that you know, I wanted him as my right hand man. When I took over, if I didn't have him, I might have even had second thoughts about actually taking the license overnight. So, and we was lucky then. You know, we, you know, the staff that we started in 2005, myself, Sarah, Patrick, Pete Vernon, of course, and of course Sid Hewitt, who's still here now with us and a big part of the kennel. You know, so it was a great team of staff that we had back in 2005, and obviously, you know, since then we've done really well, and it's fantastic to see the progress of Patrick through the years. And you know, we still think along the same lines, and when we do have a chat occasionally, you know, we talk about some of the old times, and that's really interesting, and we can have a laugh about a few things. Yeah, we can put the worlds to rights. But the one thing that he's always probably learned from me is, you know, this sport, it's all about winning those big trophies, trying to achieve the best that you can. You know, I said to Patrick when he first started, once you know, it's nice having these sort of homebred dogs and everything, but when those owners come knocking on the door and want you to win big trophies, that's what you're going to be remembered for. Like, yeah. So of course Patrick's next step, and I'm sure he'll be coming in the not too distant future, would be to win a derby and all the classics and everything, and I think that's what he's going to be really ambitious to do. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And ourselves as well, you know, we've still got those long-term ambitions. I definitely want to try and win a third derby. It'll be I mean, it's a great achievement, our kennel winning 2 derbies. Patrick was with us for one of them, and that's probably be our best time that we ever had together, when Kind of Ready won the derby back in 2009. Of course, we was lucky enough, and it was great to win a derby in 2012, just after Patrick left to do his own stuff, sort of thing, you know.
Very much so. The one thing that I noticed, and obviously I've known you both for a long time and done various interviews with both of you, and the one thing I detect you're very similar is you're both very competitive, but not in an unpleasant way, which happens with some trainers. They can't kind of remain polite and competitive. They feel as though they have to be complete dickheads. Thankfully, that's been a while since we've seen any of them, but there have been the odd few. The other thing that strikes me again about both of you is that you're kind of no bull merchants, no kind of flowering things up. Sooner or later, you've got to get to the guts that this dog wasn't good enough, or we didn't deserve to win that race, or whatever it may be. And I think a lot of trainers, a number of trainers I've come across, they I don't know whether they're fooling themselves or trying to fool other people, but it doesn't work in the long term, does it?
No, well, we're all guilty of falling in love with our own, some particular dogs, even if they're not good enough. You know, I think Patrick, whenever I've known him, was you know, pretty brutal in his um, thoughts on some dogs' ability and everything. You know, and occasionally he'd be, you know, he'd be pretty quick to and right most of the times on whether they was good enough to win anything. You know.
Mm.
Of course, sometimes I hope that I learned him to say, well, you know, sometimes you can't actually say what you think to owners. It doesn't. It's not the best thing in the world, you know. but we've always been honest. We've always, you know, we've always been honest in our assessment of the dogs, and you know, that's something that you've got to do. It's you have to remember, Floyd. It's such a competitive world to win these Category 1 races. You know, there's around in a normal year around 30 of them to win. You know, there's numerous trainers, hundreds of trainers out there that are trying to win these Category 1s. It's, you know, any trainer that can achieve more than 3 or 4 Category 1s in a year has had an awesome year. And as I say, we've done it most years. Patrick's done it this year, and he's done it in previous years. He's building you know, a great reputation and or what's the word, portfolio of trophies in his cabinet, and you know, that is probably set to continue.
Definitely so. Now, moving on, because there are various other things I wanted to speak to you about. First of all, slightly off track from dog racing. Well, two things really. First of all, January of 2020, there was a historic event in the Wallis household.
Yes, yes. May become a bit earlier than I was expecting, but yes, became a grandfather back in January. Daniel has a lovely baby daughter in Willow with Megan, and you know, they've got a good relationship, although it's not easy. Both of them work in grounds. Megan works for a mum, Irene Barnard, and Daniel obviously is committed to working in our kennel, which is a busy kennel, so time is always precious. But we seem to have struck a happy medium, and we see Willow, you know, at least once a week, occasionally, you know, and stops with us for the odd 2 or 3 days. And myself and my wife Sarah, well, we absolutely love her, and you know, she's a lovely little girl, and it's great to see Daniel and Megan so happy. And you know, nothing set for the future, but we'll see what happens. And but it's great to be a part of watching your granddaughter grow up and everything, and we get that chance, which is great. You know, it seems to be working well at the moment.
Yeah, the other, and I have to, of course, mention Emily. Now, I can't remember whether was it this year or last year that she produced that amazing video for you. Was that this summer? I'm getting old, probably.
Yeah, you know, the last 2 years in particular, Emily's really, you know, got into the kennel and into the dogs, and you know, it goes without saying what a, you know, a bright daughter she is of ours. I suppose everybody says that about their own daughters, but she's done particularly well at school. She's doing her A levels at the moment, and all her spare time, if she can, she comes over to the kennels. She's been brilliant on the social media, and of course, while we was in lockdown, you know, she came to the fore. She had a bit more time to do things. I was really proud of the video that we did, the Many Faces video, which I think touched you know, well over 40,000 views, which
It
is
was
good for ground
incredible. It was
racing.
one of the best things I've seen of its type.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and Emily, if she gets more time, is going to do plenty more stuff like that. Her Instagram account is incredible, like, you know, really popular and successful, and she upstates it with some tremendous pictures. Hence why we've suddenly got a decent darts player in Gerwin Price, who's just put a dog with us, which is actually coming today. And Gerwin sort of followed Emily on Instagram. He's a mad keen on the grounds, watches
Yeah,
RPG TV
I
all the
was
time.
say about it. I hadn't realised.
Yeah,
Good piece.
yeah, and Emily comes across so good. She's been on RPG TV. She's almost our kennel spokesman when she goes racing, and the big races are on, and you know, everybody said how well she comes across, and she comes across well because she's interested in it, and that, you know, she's passionate about grounds, and she's interested, and when you are interested and passionate, then you automatically can come across really good, you know.
Yeah.
She probably speaks better than I ever can, hence why we're always pushing her forward for these media type jobs now.
Well, as a father of 3 daughters, and she's a very attractive girl, I just know that your hair colour is going to end up the same as mine. There's a lot of grief coming your way, boy. It really is.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But oh, she has to concentrate on her A levels first, and you know, and achieve the best results she
Best
can. Of
of luck
course,
with that. Best of luck
you
with that.
know, we're proud with Daniel as well in ground racing. There's all the other trainers and all the other kennel lands. He's very popular amongst them. He's well known, and he's courteous and he hasn't got that touch of arrogance about him that some people have. He's a nice kid, and all the other kennellands and trainers can see that. So, we're proud of both Daniel and Emily that they've come into the sport, and it's gone really well. And of course, without them, what future does our kennels have? I'm getting on a bit myself now, so I need these youngsters to come along and help us push these kennels forward, see if we can achieve the best we can over the next few years.
Yes, of course. Now, racing matters. It's ironic, really. I guess that the highlight was the most recent. The reason that we were actually having this call. I am Royale has finished off what, by your standards, has been a fairly moderate year. I mean, obviously we've had the gap in the middle. We've had the whole racing calendar sort of obliterated. I think they've done a very good job, the authorities, to put on what they have. Uh,
Yeah.
if I said to you what were the biggest highs and lows of 2020 from a racing perspective, what would they be?
Well, we started the year really well. In January, Antigua Run won the Coronation Cup, which was the first big race of the year. What a race that was as well. I think that too many people have forgotten that race as well. A magnificent field, and he come from off the pace to come and win the Coronation Cup. So it was a good start. February, what an achievement we had in the kennel, getting 3 into the Golden Jacket final.
Yeah.
Again, Antigua Fire, runner-up for 2 years running. Of course, Patrick's bitch, which unfortunately got injured, won that brilliantly on the night and everything. And then the next main, or one of the next main category ones, was the Golden Sprint. And again, it was Patrick first and us second. Just before that, we had a great run with Antigua Romeo, who was a brilliant third in the Winter Derby at Hove. And him and himself and our team was running really well. I must admit, when the break came and everything, it seemed, although we actually took advantage of not being able to go race. We did all our kennels, were all refurbed and painted, and we got all those kind of jobs done. Our owners were real loyal. We had some fantastic help, not just from the GBGB, but from Kevin Boothby financially. Yes, we still took a hit. Any business has done in this, and it's hurt a little bit, but we pulled through and we've still got a business. But when we come back, it didn't quite go as we planned. So going to the lows, the first real low, I would say, and it was a major low of the year, was Bumblebee Bullet. The boys thought it was best that she went back to Ireland because it looked like their racing was going to come back before our racing over here in June, and she trialled in preparation for a tilt at a big race in Ireland, and unfortunately she broke a hock. Not only did she break a hock, but she didn't recover from an operation at the vets, and that was a real big loss to the kennel, losing a TV trophy winner. And other lows were seen. Probably our 2 most prolific dogs also got injured in their comeback trials from lockdown. Antigua Romeo and Coulivanni Messi were both going really well. It seemed to be a period where we didn't come back as strong as what we finished when we came back. Things just didn't seem to have a good run for 2 or 3 months. I think the last 2 or 3 months, with the exciting Iams a Royal, we've picked up as a kennel, and it's I would almost say normal service has been resumed. But as far as the train of the year, which we already spoke to, that probably already gone. But we've had a great last 2 months. I mean, Iams a Royal, if we pinpoint her, has been the major high. An awesome race in the Cesarewitch final to come from off the pace and just grab it on the line over the 10 bend trip at Romford, and then we put her in the St Leger, not expecting her to win, but just to keep her ticking over before before the TV trophy, and she very nearly won that. She gained more plaudits running in the St Leger. She was a close-up third. And then, of course, that's kept her fit for this TV trophy. We've had the dream of match races almost with Roxholm Christoph, which was, as I think I've well documented, was a fabulous entry from the Keatleys to put that dog in that marathon. It made for an exciting race, and probably one of the races of the year. With I Am's a Royal, it got a lot of people talking, not that maybe wouldn't talk about open racing and the sport. And of course, the final produced another stunning performance from I Am's a Royal. So, without a shadow of doubt, she's been the major high of this year. I should say, going back, Antigua Rum also got injured, who won the Coronation Cup, and he's just coming back. He was a big loss to the kennel, when we was looking to have top open races, and our team just wasn't as strong without him or Bumblebee Bullet. So, you could see why there was lows, and, you lose your kind of dogs that can win category ones, then of course it's going to impact on your overall year. But looking forward, I Am's a Royal was certainly high, and if your last open race runner of the year is one that wins a £10,000 TV trophy, then it certainly gives you a good end to the year and makes you look forward to next year. And she certainly is one that can achieve even more for 2021. She's not even 3 yet, so what a great prospect we have her for all the big staying races.
Yes, of course. In terms of your middle distance dog, obviously Antigua Romeo was flying, had his setback, has come back, but it hasn't really sort of still clicked for him yet. If we were talking Derby, because it's ironic, the last one is barely over, and we're looking now we're looking forward to what probably next May stroke June. Um, what I know you had several young dogs come into the kennel. Are they shaping up? Are there any others that we don't know about yet that are to look forward to?
I believe as a kennel, we're still quite a way off of having it exactly how I'd want it. I mean, just you mentioned Antigua Romeo. Of course, he stepped up to 575 now and has looked an awesome prospect over that. And our kennel's known for its longevity in racing grounds, and though he's 3.5, there's no reason why he's going to be a major contender in the Essex Vars. Our 575 team looks doubly strong, having stepped some dogs up, the likes of Romeo and Hope's Doggy and Antigua Boy are all now running over those kind of extended trips. They probably hadn't achieved what they could have done over 4 bends because they probably simply wasn't just quite good enough for that. But it doesn't mean to say that they couldn't progress to be Category 1 class over 6 bends, which we've got an amazing record of getting those sort of dogs into better races over the trip, and we've got some more exciting ones over that kind of trip as well. Sober Express is another one, and we're looking even more with the likes of Dronko. Brent is on the lips of us for going over staying distances. What we need really is to produce a team of 4 bend dogs. I have a couple of new ones in that I'm looking to get to. One more first for the Puppy Derby, and I think we'll be using one more quite a bit during January to try the Ladbrokes Gold Cup. But I'm definitely looking to strengthen the team with 2 or 3 more Derby dogs over the next month. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen with the Derby. I mean, if you read the papers and listen to the news at the moment, can you see this pandemic being finished by May? I can't see it personally. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if this Derby gets put back again. But that's something we won't know. For another month or two. The panel's meeting to actually choose the venue. My thoughts on that, would if I said my thoughts, everybody'd say I'd be biased anyway. But to me, Toaster produced 2 of the best derbies for 30 or 40 years since the White City days in 2017 and 18. The atmosphere, the crowd, everything about that just the supporting cars were awesome. Like, yeah, and they got it right. Now, yes, Nottingham have done a fine job, but for me, that and I've got nothing against Nottingham whatsoever, but it just doesn't have that wow factor when we come to doing a derby. Toaster's got the facilities, he's got the logistics to put on a fantastic derby. I believe that Kevin Boothby's a true ground man, and he deserves to have the chance to hold a derby. And I'm sure he'd do a fantastic job. And Toaster as a track, I think since Kevin's made the changes, we've been there graded over the last 2 or 3 months, and we haven't had many, but what we have had, I think the track's running better than it's ever done. I think also you've got to factor in the Irish factor. Yes, they came to Nottingham, they was always going to do that anyway, but they was in their droves for the Toaster derbies, and all the Irish, Paul Hennessy and everybody there loved the derby, Graham Holland, and they loved it at Toaster. They absolutely loved it. So, yes, I'm biased, but to me, it's that's where the derby should be. And but we'll see what happens anyway. I get a feeling that Nottingham are going to get it. Central Park rules itself out just on location, in my opinion. Again, Roger Kearns is a fantastic ground man, and he definitely staged a great derby. There's no doubt about it. But I just don't feel like Central Park is his location, or and a couple of other things that are not quite right for that to be a derby venue. But that's only my opinion, and wherever it is, we shall support it and do our best to try and win it again.
I was going to say to you that the subject that hasn't really come up. We have it's a very different circuit now at Toaster. You've raced on both. What difference have you seen between shall we call it the 6 dog toaster and the 8 dog toaster? What does it take a different type of dog? It seems to me quite a tough track to run in terms of stamina wise.
Yeah, well, I was one of those that actually had no problem with the track as it was before. I didn't understand the criticism. I thought Lord Hesketh's idea of 8 dog racing worked. In fact, I absolutely loved the 8 dog racing on a Saturday morning. We loved it. I couldn't believe how well it went off. And who can forget the memorable 8 dog
The Durand,
Durando Marathon
one of
round there?
the
It's
best
probably
races
one of
I've
the
seen in recent years, I think.
yeah. If you had a top 10 of greyhound races, that would probably be in a lot of people's in their top 10. So it did work. I felt like they didn't quite listen to a few things that some knowledgeable trainers and people said. I felt like the first and second bends, they could have brought um, the grass in by at least 5 or 10 yards, and that would have kept the dogs in a little bit rather than trying to bank it. Like, it was an old trick that Tom Smith did at Swaffham, when he had a similar track that was really wide and everything. And one of the things that kept the dogs in was by putting some false grass that came into the dogs wouldn't run nowhere near it anyway,
Mm.
but it definitely kept them in. I think Kevin this time has just took it completely out by narrowing the track slightly, and just redoing the bends, and it seems to have worked to the way he wants to. I think there's no bias. There's absolutely no bias whatsoever to the railers. It's you have to remember, Floyd, that there's probably 80 to 85% of the dogs in training are either rails or middles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most of the middles have got a tendency to come into the rails.
Mm.
Yeah, so results are always going to reflect that. In fact, if you have got a genuine wide runner, you're almost at an advantage, because you're not likely to have another wide runner inside you and everything. So, and the track doesn't favour rails. I think maybe even the other 2 tracks, Nottingham, and again, nothing against them, Nottingham and Central Park have both got more of a rails bias than what Toaster certainly has. So, from that point of view, I don't understand some of the criticism levelled at Toaster. I think it's the perfect track to hold a derby.
Yeah. As I said, I'm sure there'll be a few comments coming out. I intend to run a Twitter poll of what the few of the trainers, owners and trainers have been whining a little bit about the Derby selection panel. Personally, I don't have a problem with it. You can we can all choose somebody else who you could say would be
Yeah.
more suitable, but
Floyd, they're on a no-win situation. Whatever they
Absolutely.
decide, somebody's going to. It doesn't matter who you chose.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You have to choose knowledgeable people from within the game. I'd say they've mostly got that right. And they'll make the right decision. I'm sure they will for the sport. But no matter what decision they make, they're not going to appease everybody. So I'm almost glad I wasn't asked to be on it. Because it just couldn't. I just wouldn't be able to take all the criticism you would get, But let's see what happens anyway.
definitely. So just bear with me 1 second. Yes, sorry about that. Brief interruption. Um, so yeah, looking ahead, you'd obviously have fingers crossed that you're going for Toaster, and you refer to a couple of younger dogs. If I said to you now, who's your Derby dog for next year, would you have one?
Uh, I would probably say not a younger one. We have got some new ones due in the kennel in January, yeah, and we'll just have to see how they go. We've got some nice ones. I like a couple of dogs that are currently in the kennel. Coolavani Kaiser strikes me as a potential big improver in the kennel. He's already started quite well. If we looked at what we had last year, there's probably not many of them that are going to be good enough for a derby. So it's really what we have coming in the kennel in January and February, really. And I'm not going to sort of mention any names from there because it quite often turns out a disaster and everything. So I'll wait to and see what we've got at the moment. We wouldn't be that strong, but I do see us having a strong team come April, May.
Definitely. One final thing I was going to ask you. Obviously, we referred earlier on to I Am the Royal. Greyhound of the Year. I can't think there could have been too many more difficult years to choose than this one, but she presumably would have to be in amongst them, wouldn't she?
Yeah, I think she has. I mean, it helps her that most of her latest big efforts, the TV Trophy and Cesarewitch and the Ledger, have both come in the final part of the year. That's always a big advantage when choosing, when the people have to choose the greyhound of the year, the writers, because it's fresh in their mind. Um, you know, Patrick's going to have 2 or 3 dogs that are worthy of mention. Kilara Lyons also won two category ones. The Derby winner itself, in a year where we've had such a break and everything, and there's so many competitions that haven't gone on as well as the ones that have got on. That has to come into the contention. And maybe if you went back to January and February, the likes of Skillful Sandy or Goldie's Hoddle or something like that, there's plenty. I mean, Rab McNair's had a fantastic year as well. He's cleaned up on the British breds. You can't forget John Mullins' bitch, Smallmead, Brilliance and Ledger winner. That's worthy of of picking something up. We probably have to sit down and look at it and see what's happening. It doesn't look like there's going to be an awards ceremony this year, which is such a shame. I do enjoy them. I think it's a fantastic industry thing that gets everybody together, all greyhound people, and it's I always look forward to that occasion. It certainly looks like it's going to be somewhat different this year, but we have to move forward, and we look at this. What plans the sport can do to make things better. We got hope the new man in charge of the PR side, Mark Moisley, is it, on and see what he can help out the finances of the sport. We still battling to try and get more money in. Everything goes up. I noticed our bills coming in lately. Everything goes up. And the only way we can survive is if prize money goes up. And the only way we can put kennel fees up is if prize money goes up. Yeah, so we still have to look at them. I know it's difficult times, but if you don't look at that, you're not going to survive, sort of thing. I've been begging the GBGB to get this open race calendar with all the trainers have been calling to try and get this calendar sorted out. It's an absolute travesty that this Oaks is stuck in December. It has to be soon, pretty soon after the derby. And if there's not an appetite to stage that, within a month of the derby finishing, then it's almost not worth doing. Like, no, what's the word? I know Swindon do their best and everything, but it's a massive event, and it shouldn't be stuck in the middle of December. It's just not right. Like, so I've got bee in my bonnet about that, as you know, and I'm going to campaign during January and February to get something done about this Bitches Classic before we get to September and October and still nothing's done. So, I'm hoping for some help on that throughout the industry. Yes, we just got to think, this pandemic can finish as quick as we can, and we can get the crowds back. I don't know if you feel the same, Floyd, but I get the feeling that, when we do get crowds back, there's going to be sports like ground racing could have a massive boost. I think people are so sick of being stuck indoors all the time that when we do get the chance, they'll realise, listen, there's some brilliant outdoor activities there that we can go and watch, and maybe those crowds will come back into ground racing like there was quite a few years ago.
Yes, definitely so. It's going to take some work, and it's going to take a little bit of different thinking as well, I think, because we have got into this sort of betting shop mentality, and it's going to be a case of reminding and saying, we are a spectator sport. Maybe we're not going to get the crowds back as you or I will remember 10, 20 years ago, because I just don't think they exist for anything apart from Premier League football. That doesn't mean we can't get numbers through, and we could certainly get them into Toaster. I mean, I get accused, there's a particular journalist has a little pop at me about sort of promoting Toasters because I believe in it. Not specifically for the derby, but certainly the derby's part of it, but I believe in that whole idea of introducing people to greyhound racing at those festivals, getting them into some of the other activities Kevin has lined up for next year that have got nothing to do with greyhounds, but greyhound racing will be taking place at the same time. And whether it's a music festival or a flower show, a craft fair, whatever it may be, and you can get people there at the time or with tickets to the greyhound events. I think it's a great advertisement for dog racing, but you know we'll wait and see. Mark, I'm going to bring this to an end because I'm very
Thanks for
conscious. I always drag these things out, and I realise people are trying to watch them in between, probably trying to fit in putting dogs out or feeding them or kind of other things that the Grand Star readers would possibly be doing. So thank you for your time. I'm sure everybody wishes you the best and the family, and you can look forward to being a granddad for that first birthday very shortly.
Thanks, Floyd. Can I just take the opportunity to thank everybody for all their support during the year, and all our owners, and of course, not forgetting our kennel staff who have been magnificent. And without them, we haven't got a kennel to run, sort of thing. And I'm most grateful to them and all our owners and all our friends have been so supportive. And we look forward to 2021 and wish everybody a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much, Mark. Lovely to speak to you.